Bitcoin is attempting to break out of a 60-day long downward sloping resistance. An official breakout of this level will send Bitcoin upwards and officially flip the daily trend bullish. However, until then, resistance is resistance until it is not, and therefore the possibility of a false break / fake out is on the cards. Let's go ahead and dive into the video. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. We're here to take a look at Bitcoin on the daily chart and the smaller time frame, as Bitcoin is attempting to break out of the downtrending resistance, the same resistance we have been under for 62 days. A breakout of this resistance will flip the daily trend bullish and potentially push the price upward back to 30,000. Until then, resistance is resistance, the downtrend is intact, and the confirmations we need to see to validate this breakout has not yet occurred, and therefore the possibility of a fake out is on the cards and something we're going to be taking a look at today. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing the possibility of a fake out, the smaller time frame price action, and what we expect to see if this move actually does validate. Before we get into it, smash the like button, hit the comment button, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for 10,000 subscribers. I do deeply appreciate it. You can find us on Telegram if you want more information. The links are down below. You'll get access to non-biased, factual, and informative information on this channel and on the Telegram channel. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw data. To quickly take you through the Telegram, you'll find that by the second link, you'll get updates, you'll get charts, you'll get analysis, you'll get videos, you'll get news events, and everything in between to keep you in the loop with the price action and the economy as a whole. If you're interested in joining our VIP channel, where we post trading setups, we post charts, we give you exclusive updates on analysis. Every trading setup comes with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, and clear justification of the signals. If you're interested in finding out more information about our VIP, go up to the free channel, click the links, go to the top, you'll find all information, including our entire trading track record, which you can find via this link. Let's go ahead and show you since 2021, our entire trading track record. Last one, for example, we took 23 trades, 21 wins and 2 losses at a 91% win-loss ratio. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Go ahead and contact me. Let's get into a video, starting off with the market data. So, for the day currently, Bitcoin is sitting up around 48% in 24-hour volume. With that, we've seen a spike of around 64% in 24-hour liquidations, sitting at 57 million. Volume sitting at 63 billion. For the month, Bitcoin is down 1.14%, sitting just over 2/3 of the way through June. Getting quite interesting, guys. Getting very interesting. Moving on to our volatility index, we can see the volatility index is slightly moving upwards, more or less plateauing overall on the 30, and on the 60, we are seeing more or less the same thing. We're seeing a little bit of deviation here between overall volatility and price action, but again, this is averaged out over a 60-day period, so it is accounting for this large period of consolidation and compression, and essentially a plateau period of volatility. Moving on, we can take a look at liquidations. We can see with 57 million in liquidations, we do have a fairly even split between shorts and long positions. Nothing too drastic on the smaller time frame in terms of liquidations. We have a fairly even split in the last 24 hours. We did see a little bit more shorts liquidate as the price did fake break to the downside, moved a little lower. You know, it did look like it was going lower, but it ended up pushing back upwards on the result of another potential ETF by Fidelity. I just want to go over this really quickly. Fidelity, and again, a huge asset management company, $4.5 trillion in assets, have rumored to again file an ETF similar to BlackRock for spot Bitcoin. Again, if that goes through, it could potentially be very bullish to the cryptocurrency space, but I would really stress to everyone watching, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, buy it on an exchange, move it to a cold wallet. Remember, if you buy it via ETF, you don't own Bitcoin. You don't own the coins, you own the contract. You don't actually own the asset. So make sure if you do want to buy Bitcoin for the long term, if you're bullish on cryptocurrency, don't buy it through this crap. Buy it through the exchanges, buy it so you own the physical asset, and then put it in your wallets. Okay, let's go ahead, guys, and get into the broader market. So DXY. Saw a little bit of move upwards in the last 24 hours. Again, we have seen a little bit of a move upwards, not too much going on in here. The move upwards, we have seen both the Dow Jones and S&P 500 take a small little hit. We'll get back into that in just a second. But again, nothing really has changed here, guys. The two key levels we're looking out for is, of course, this downward sloping resistance. A break over this level will be very bullish for the DXY and send us upwards. And of course, the next short-term move will occur if we lose these lows, taking us lower. This will be very bullish for the markets. This will be very bearish for the markets. Keep your eyes on that. Moving on. S&P 500 at resistance here. We do expect the move toward the downside to resume. And again, we do expect a slightly bearish bias on S&P 500 here until we can invalidate this bearish structure. Meaning a weekly close above this uptrending resistance will invalidate this bearish structure and push the price higher. Until then, I see a possible tap of these highs as a high point, 4,500, before we come back down towards our uptrending support. Definitely keep that in mind. If we do lose this uptrending support on the weekly chart, we will be heading lower into this range over here to retest this low support around 4,000, 4,100. Moving on to the Dow Jones, not really too much to say over here, guys, besides the fact if we do lose this uptrending support, we will be heading lower. And until then, we are sitting directly above that resistance. Let's go ahead and get into Bitcoin. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss my favorite exchange, Bitget. If you're looking for a safe, honest, reliable, and accurate exchange, look no further than Bitget. You can sign up by the link in the description to support the channel and get access to 3 exclusive perks. That being up to $5,005 in trading rewards, up to 15% discount on your trading fees, and exclusive access to our MegaWhale promotion campaigns that we run every few months. Alongside that, guys, Bitget is a non-KYC exchange, meaning you do not have to KYC. It is completely optional. Bitget also has a protection fund that secures user assets against external hacks and threats in the space. Alongside that, guys, Bitget offers up to 125x leverage on futures with extensive amount of trading pairs and liquidity on the market. I highly recommend signing up to Bitget. It is the exchange I've been using for over a year and a half now, including all of our members. If you're interested in signing up, trading there, and supporting the channel, you can do so with the link in the description. Thanks for listening. And today is an important day, and today is an exciting day as for the first time in 60 odd days, it looks like we're attempting to break out again. We've seen a few breakouts over here, but these are very early breakouts. Again, look at these breakouts over here. We didn't have the momentum nearly high enough. You know, even on this instance over here, we didn't really have the momentum nearly high enough. So the second test that formulated the trend, but the third test and the third point is usually the point at which we do get these attempted breakouts and potential extended breakouts. So this is really the first actual proper test for a breakout in 60 days ever since we formulated this downtrend on this point in early May. And it does look like we are breaking out. We can see two things have occurred. The prices, of course, are broken above. It is closed above the 50 EMA, and it has broken above this downtrending resistance on the RSI, signifying at least a small time frame daily momentum shift. We will still like to see a daily candle close above the downtrending resistance, and we would also still like to see the RSI break through this higher time frame RSI resistance over here according to this diagonal trend line to really confirm and validate this high time frame momentum shift and potential move into a bullish daily uptrend. But in today's video, we're focusing more on the smaller time frame and focusing more on what is going on. So let's talk about this structure first and foremost from a structural perspective, our targets from it, and then we'll break it down to a smaller time frame and talk about the possibility of a fake out, right? We'll talk about, could the charts fake out? Could we actually see a fake out occur? We'll dive into all of that. So currently on the smaller time frame and on this daily chart, we are seeing a potential bullish channel. This is a downward descending channel, or a descending channel that of course has two parallel trend lines that eventually does break toward the upside. It does have a higher probability of a upward break. The question is this break going to be the one, or are we going to move back toward the downside before we eventually break upwards? But again, this channel is a bullish channel, meaning at some point when this downward trending resistance breaks, we're going to have to make a move upwards. Will the move upwards be high enough to break over its local highs and send us upwards, or will it not and push downwards? That's a whole nother question entirely. We're not going to answer that today. But the answer of the focus of today's video is primarily, are we going to see this happen, or are we going to see this happen? And what do we need to see on a smaller time frame to validate this or validate that. So first and foremost, let's define the structure. We are in a descending channel. Awesome. If we take a measured move of the descending channel from here, we take the width of it, we apply it to the perceived breakout point, which is right over here. The target takes us into this range. And you can see I put this range over here. We have a resistance at 30,000 represented by this green area here. And we do have this target range as per the breakout or perceived breakout point based on the measured move distance of the current market structure. That would take the price to around 30,000 to around 30,500, potentially as low as 29,500. So it doesn't quite put us above 30,000. It puts us in this range between 29.6 to 30.5. And that, of course, gives a potential for a lower high and a rejection if that move does play out. So it doesn't quite put us out of the woods yet on a macro scale. If we're looking for a macro bullish reversal, it doesn't quite give us enough confirmation there that we are going to see it, but it at least gives us potential to flip the daily downtrend, put the weekly trend back into a bullish trend, which we'll discuss today, and move the prices potentially higher. If we do look at the channel from the downside, while we are in this channel, guys, we do still have a potential to retest these low points. So we take a look at Ethereum, for example, as a reference and a potential fractal, we can see a very similar structure has actually developed on Ethereum. Of course, you know, Bitcoin being the leading market mover, we do see every other coin generally follow at least the same pattern or direction as Bitcoin. But we can see a very eerily or very similar pattern over here, which is this uptrending support line. Okay, uptrending support line. You can see on Bitcoin here, 0.1, 0.2. On Ethereum, you can see 0.1, 0.2. On Ethereum, we actually lost this uptrending support line very temporarily and pushed into this lower support. As we can see over here on Bitcoin, we have not actually done that. Meaning if we do push lower and fake out here, we do have potential to do so and tap these lows before coming up, similar to what we saw on Ethereum. But in case, of course, if that does happen, Ethereum will be pushing into these lows here before coming back up. So that is a real possibility for now. And again, is going to be invalidated if we get a confirmation that this breakout has actually confirmed. So let's talk about on a smaller time frame. You know, what do we need to see on a smaller time frame to validate this breakout? How can we confirm it on a higher time frame? And what are the possibilities of a fake out occurring? So we'll answer that first one yet. First one, breakout, we need confirmation. We talked about it already. We need these 3 points. We need trend-based confirmation, we need structure-based confirmation, and we need momentum-based confirmation. Right now, we actually have none. All right, we actually have none. The reason being is we do not have a daily candle close yet to validate these breakouts. We have 20 hours and 50 minutes, as you can see over here. We need to see within 20 hours and 50 minutes a daily candle close above this downtrend resistance. We need to see the RSI break through and hold above its levels, and we need to see this structure officially break. We need 3 points of confirmation to increase the probabilities that the breakout is not a fake out and the breakout will continue upwards. If we do not get those 3 points, until then, the possibility of a fake out remains, and let's talk about that now on a smaller time frame. So we move down to the hourly chart. What can we see? Well, we can see a very, very interesting thing occurring, and that is, of course, this uptrending resistance. If you remember, this uptrending resistance is basically been that same resistance we had for quite some time. In fact, it was the rising channel formation we had over here, which we shorted all the way down to 25.2. Awesome. We pushed back upwards, we found support, we broke back in, and we have now been bouncing back around. This over here is a rising channel formation with huge deviation, and therefore, if we take a look at this rising resistance, which is this resistance is still intact. Now, the price has broken above our downtrending resistance, but it is still within the confines of this uptrending resistance. And this uptrending resistance for the smaller time price action takes immediate precedent over this large time frame resistance on the higher time frame. And therefore, for us to say this breakout is not a fake out and is validated and at least could go up on a smaller time frame, we actually do need to invalidate this rising resistance. You can see 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. We need to break and get above, start closing some hourlies above this resistance point to invalidate it. Until then, this is a really important resistance level and a potential rejection zone. And of course, if we do reject, where are we going? Well, like we have seen before, here, and here, we're looking for targets back along this uptrending support line. Where could that take us? We're looking at 26.4, we're looking at 26.3, we're potentially looking at sweeps into this low side as we have seen with these liquidity wicks at around 26.2. So again, the really Bitcoin isn't out of the woods yet. It's not out of the woods yet, but it's looking fantastic. It's looking the best it's looked for a very long time. And as you know already, guys, we bought at 16.5, we sold at 30,000. We were expecting a strong bounce from 25.2, and we have seen that. So far, we are on the money. We're on the right track. Everything is looking fantastic. Right now, we have 20-hour window for Bitcoin to make up its mind, and then we're going to flip biases. Currently, we are still looking for shorts. Currently, we're still hedging a little more short side as we are at resistance, as we are approaching this upside liquidity zone. But if that invalidates, if that breaks upwards, the market is going to continue upwards. With the ETF news coming out, the market is looking better. Everything is looking really good. So keep that in mind, guys. Watch for that. Now, let's talk about the short-term targets. Hypothetically speaking, now this is all hypothetically speaking, if we do fail to get above this level and we do break into this range and push back down, we're looking for again a measured move target into 25.8. Now we said in yesterday's video, while we remain above 26 to 25.8, we are actually short-term bullish in terms of the overall direction of the trend, right? We are short-term bullish, we have an uptrend. That remains intact. We are still bullish on the short term into this resistance while we remain above 26 to 25.8. As you can see, a breakdown target of this range takes us to 25.8. So even if that occurs, the possibility of a future breakout is very, very high. It is actually higher than the possibility of that break toward the downside and potential retest of 24.4. When does the bias shift? If the price loses 25.8, that is when the directional bias for Bitcoin will then shift back toward the downside, and that is when the probability of a retest of its uptrending support, okay, the uptrending support, similar to what Ethereum had, this uptrending support increases. That is when the probability of a retest of that level increases, not a moment before. So keep that in mind, guys. Let's now break it down to the immediate small time frame. We're talking 15 minutes, and then get into the weekly trend and discuss what everything is looking like on the weekly trend. So let's break it down. 15-minute chart. So what we're seeing here, guys, is of course a very strong rejection. It's a very strong rejection so far, but it does look like the price is showing a lot of resilience at this support level. Again, if this level is lost, we start clearing out these low points over here. We do expect that trend to actually push and continue downwards. I would not be shocked to see 26.6, 26.7 if we start clearing these low points out. But we are now challenging a little bit of support. The big question is, are we going to fail to hold here and push down, or will we have the strength to buffer and push upwards, potentially liquidity grab as high as 27.4 and then push back downwards, guys? And again, the determining factor is that 20-hour close, that daily close. But if we're looking at this from a technical perspective, we have something called a triple divergence. This is a very strong expression of weakness. We have a falling RSI. Awesome, great stuff to see. We have obviously our divergence over here. Okay, we have a discrepancy between our shift points on our Marcus OB, and we can see if we go back to a 10-minute chart, we'll see a little bit differently. We actually do have a bearish divergence over here on the Marcus OB, a bearish divergence here on the RSI, and of course, with that on the price action, we have a bearish divergence on the price action chart right over here. So therefore, the direction is assumed to be down, as this is a very clear display of increasing price, decreasing metrics, which equals higher time frame or just general weakness in the trend. Now, if this weakness develops, we will be seeing a move downwards. To invalidate this weakness, we need to break above that uptrending resistance as per the divergence, get the RSI back above this level to therefore invalidate and say, well, this bearish divergence, although it played out, although we had a bearish divergence, unfortunately, the price didn't push as low as expected. Unfortunately, the negative momentum wasn't strong enough, the sellers were not strong enough, the buyers were just still too strong to push the price down. But the overall concept and general idea of this setup is very, very clean, it's very precise, and again, these triple divergences, these aren't usually something that don't play out. These generally do play out, and when we don't see them play out, it's just a really strong signal of overall strength And again, it's a good thing for the market because we do want to see Bitcoin go up. The more Bitcoin goes up, the stronger Bitcoin goes up, the less the SEC is going to really attack it, the less people are going to call it scams. From a higher time frame perspective, from a general cryptocurrency ecosystem, it is better for Bitcoin to do well. When the bull market's back on, the price is going up, everyone's happy, the feds are happy, the government's happy, they're making taxes. It's only when the market crashes and goes down, the longer it needs down spins, the more it moves down, becomes a little bit of an issue for regulations, becomes an issue for targeted attacks, and all this kind of other crap. So let's go ahead and finish up the video on the weekly chart. So as you can see, guys, the weekly chart, this is our weekly chart right over here. We can see one thing I want to point out, and that is this candle smack bang right over here, which is over here. You can see we are pushing back above the 200 moving average on the weekly. Again, a signal of strength. And I've said it a few times and I'll say it again. We are not in a weekly downtrend until we lose. And we'll go ahead and remove some of these lines really quickly. Until we lose the 24.8 to 25.2 level. We are not in a weekly downtrend until we lose 25.2 to 24.4 on the weekly and daily chart. This is our weekly support. Therefore, a lot of people were saying, guys, we're in a weekly downtrend, yada, 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 whatever, when we lost this level. All we were saying is this is a massive shift in strength. This represents a shift in weekly strength, and the weekly trend is weakening and has weakened to the point at which the trend has lost bullish momentum. Now, we do not see a weekly shift in direction unless 24.4 to 25.2 is lost. The support level of the support chunk sits right over here. You can see the Marcus over B midline is sitting in between there. Therefore, a loss of the Marcus over B midline, Marcus over Gaussian channel, what am I saying? The loss of the Gaussian channel midline will result in a move toward the downside. Until then, the daily trend is weak. It is currently breaking out. The weekly trend has lost momentum, but it is slowly regaining, but it is still an uptrend, and therefore the entire trend is still upwards. We are not yet in a macro uptrend. Maybe we'll talk about that on Thursday, but we're not yet in a macro uptrend, but things are turning around. Things are looking good for the first time in a while, guys. I do have to say, I'm very happy with how things are developing, and as you should be too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's give us 20 hours. Let's see what's happening on the chart. Stay logical, stay informed, stay practical, and unbiased. Thanks for watching. Check out the Crypto Academy, actually. We'll actually have a bit of a sale going on pretty soon for this. So Crypto Academy courses, send us an email if you want more information. We'll hit you up with all the sale information when we do start. Just have to confer with my business partner for this one. And then we'll go ahead and chuck out all the information. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys on Thursday. Have a great day.